Hello friend, it is Pat on Thursday for our daily video. It's the 13th and our topic for today, looking at your calendar, is kit counts. I know, I made you count rulers the other day. Somebody said in the group, I'm not counting them. I'm not. That just cracked me up. You're probably going to say the same thing about kits. You're not going to count them, but you should, because you don't know what you have, and you don't know what your status is, and you don't know what you want to do with your kits if you don't know what you have. Now, you can take the whole rest of the month to count your kits. That would be an amazing thing. You'll notice that I think I'm putting stuff on the calendar that I wish I could do myself, but I just can't go wrong counting kits right now. I can't pick things up, I can't move things, everything I have to ask Greg to come. Poor man, every time he shows up in front of me, I have a list of things. Can you do this? Can you do this? Even though I can do a bit more, if there's any weight to it, I can't do it. So, but kit count. Now, of course, before I did the video, I was like, Greg, can you get this for me? So I had remembered that I had bought this kit, and it's kind of a silly one. It's one of these where Moda put out sort of superhero stuff, and they had some tote bags, they had, a bunch of kitschy stuff like that. But they put out this kit, and it's sitting over here, but I pulled the pattern out so you can just see the cover. So this is the kit, and it's 60 by 80, and it says quilters are just superheroes in disguise. So there's this block back here, and those circles are actually appliqued down. So I'm like, yes. And then there's this giant, applique that you put on top. And I thought, during this pandemic, and during my time with this, I just thought, quilters, we are superheroes. We definitely are superheroes. We're doing superhero things every single day, whether you're making masks or you're helping somebody, calling a friend like you did the other day that you haven't touched base with, connecting with people, that just to be sure everybody's doing okay, helping me. You help me by, giving me suggestions and lots of love. So I think I just need to push this up on my list. I need to put it up there once I can sew again. So I'm going to put that back in the box. Then I'll have to ask Greg, can you put it back up on the shelf? Poor man. I'm sure he's really bored with me. All this stuff. So also, you can keep track of your kits in one of your journals. So this is an awesome journal. It's nice and compact. It's small. If you're going out and about, which someday we will, you can take your journal with you, keep your kits listed in there. So that is on I have like this giant list of things I want to be doing, and figuring out what kits I have that I want to still make. And they might not be kits like this that are purchased. You might have built your own kit. We did that one month a while back, where you took like a pattern that you wanted to do. You got the fabric collected and you put it all in a bag so that you have your own kit when you're ready to make it, when you need something to do, because of course you have nothing to do. So that is our challenge. This is more of a challenge, because I know some of you are just going to go, I don't want to count them. But at the minimum, get them all together, gather them up, and figure out what's going on. I'm hoping in December that is something I can do, because years ago, December was always my month to sort of get the year tidied up and get ready for the next year. I did a lot of organizing, and I haven't done it the last couple years because we had a lot of busyness in December and we're at home a lot of the time. So this year I'm going to get that on my schedule to create these, list of my UFOs, list of my kits, get rid of things that I'm never going to use, either like disperse the fabric back into my collection and just keep the pattern, whatever. So those are the things I want to deal with. Okay. I want to do a little Scrappy Star chat here, because there's something that a lot of people ask about. There's my Scrappy Stars. So I've been slowly doing parts of it, but I decided last night, I was looking at that, sitting on the other side of my table, like right over here where I can look at the wall, and I thought, you know what, I need a plan, because it is like the 13th of the month, and I need to know how the heck I'm going to you know, get this to a point where I feel good about what I did in August on it. You know, a lot of you have actually finished in our Quilt Along with Pat Sloan group at Facebook. There are a bunch of people who have been finishing their stars. But what I've decided is I'm going to do all of the rows and then all of the sashing rows, and that will leave me the last blank row where I still have to make 2 stars. You know, so like I got squares cut out for the half square triangle part. You know, that part's a lot slower because I can't cut. I can only cut with small scissors and, you know, trace my lines. So anyway, what I want to do is concentrate on getting all of those star blocks and the sashings all together. Then I can work on the 9 patches, and if I don't, you know, it'll be more doable. The center will be done, and that's my goal, is to get the center done. I sort of shifted over to doing the 9 patches for a little bit, and I can still do those, but I want to focus on getting stars done. So how do you get things like this done? You know, people say to me, how do you get this done? How do you get all that stuff done? Well, you have a plan. So if I look at this and say, okay, I've got X number of rows. So how many rows? I have 4 rows of stars, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows of sashing. Do I want to sew? Will it take me 2 days to do each one because I'm very limited? I get really tired. I get very achy. You know, if I do just even a little bit, then it's like, okay, I gotta stop. So if I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if I have 8 rows, that's 8 times 2 is 16. That means 16 days to finish that center and maybe put the inner border on. So 16 days. That means I need to do something every day, you know, work on, like, get half of a row done. If I get a whole row done, that's great, because then if it takes me all night to do 1 star, then that's okay. So 16 days. Are there 16 days left in the month? Yes. So that will be the 29th of the month. So I'm good. So it means every single day I need to do a little bit of something. So I want to show you today one thing. I'll give you a little bit of how I handle this, putting the sashing next to the star. So come down here, my friend, come down here, because people worry about chopping their points off, and yes, it's not that pretty. So let me show you how you can avoid that. First is make sure your block you have, let me pull in here. You know, you always want to be sure that on your seam, here you can see this one here, there you go, your seam allowance, you've got at least 1/4 of an inch here. So if somehow you have your point all the way at the outside, you are not going to be able to save it. You are going to chop off your point and there's nothing you can do. So you need to have this 1/4 of an inch, and if you don't, you need to figure out why before you proceed. Don't just keep going. It won't get any better. So that is what you need. Now I am going to take the sashing, which is the one that goes between the stars, and put it on this side. Now a lot of people, a lot of the philosophy is you do the bigger piece on the bottom. A lot of people do that. Big on bottom. But in this case, if I do that, what happens? What do you see right away? Okay, I put the sashing on, and now I cannot see the points at all. I don't know where they are. I don't know if I had one that was really sort of close and I needed to be careful, I wouldn't be able to see it. So instead, what I want to do is I want to put the sashing right side up and put the block on top of it. And then what this does, and I'm going to bring the thing down here. So if I have this on top like here, okay, let's come down. Now I can see what the heck I'm sewing, so that when I start here and put it under the presser foot, I can see this junction right here where the intersection is. Let's see, bring you down some more. There we go. So I will see this intersection. That means I want the seam to be coming right along here and hitting that point, and then going on. Now you can pin along here, you can use Wonder clips to keep it stable, but your whole goal is to get right to that spot. You don't want to sew past it into the block, and if you sew a little short, then the point will just float a little bit, which is not the end of the world, and that's totally fine. So that is how I handle this. I want to put, hold on, let me just bring this up. My goal when I sew two pieces together is to have the one that has the most intersections on the top where I see it. I need to see the most intersections. You can't always see all intersections because they can be on both sides and sometimes it's equal. But if one side has more and I can put that on top, then that helps me. Otherwise, I have to peek underneath and put pins and just be really careful. Although if I know it's at least 1/4 of an inch, then I'm okay. But if there's one that's maybe a little skimpy and you're trying to be sure you don't, you make a little bit less seam allowance on that one, there's ways to fiddle around with that. And if you can't see it, you're not going to be very successful. So that is how I handle it. Okay, one other thing. I had a question from one of our marvelous friends in the Quilt Along with Pat Sloan page. Audrey asked, what kind of chair do I use and recommend for quilting? And I am using, let me just get up, let me just push the Superhero over here. Oh, by the way, the Superhero is like is an old kit from a couple years ago. I mean, you might find it on eBay or Etsy, but I don't have a link for it. So here is the chair that I have. This is a Koala studio chair. And let me just tell you a few aspects of it. Is that it does not have any arms. So I don't use arms at my computer and I don't use arms in the sewing machine because they get in the way. So I don't use any arms. The other thing is that this goes up and down like this and it rotates this way so that I can get a perfect angle. Now I am working here at my Koala Studio cabinet. This is a tall cabinet. So I have like a pad under, not a pad, it comes with it, a raised foot thing inside the table because my other side is table height. So this is not your normal counter height. So I need to be able to get my ergonomics so that I am at a right angle like this. So my arms need to be, I could even be up maybe just a tiny bit more, like, but this is pretty good. So you want your arm at a right angle to the top of your work surface. So this is a taller chair. They also have one that's a regular desk height chair. And so the Koala Studio chair, and I will link you to that. These are wonderful. I've been using this one for a few years now, and it's really, really good. You can find office chairs that have a similar feel. I use an office chair at my computer, and in years past I had an office chair, but when I got the studio table, I needed this higher chair so that I could work at it. So, alrighty, there you go. Thank you for being here, and thank you for all the wonderful tips. We are just having amazing quilt shows over at the group Quilt Along with Pat Sloan, and be sure to link down to see the upcoming sew-alongs, and I've been working on finalizing dates. They're going to shift. They'll be like in the same maybe week, but on a different day than I originally thought, so I'm shifting that around and trying to get that out there, and I will build some project pages for the new stuff. Okay, my friend, I will chat with you later. Mwah. I love you. Bye-bye.